Welcome back to my channel, guys. Jordan here, RK Tunes. We're digging back into F80 build, throwing all parts at it. We're gonna start off opening a bunch of boxes to show you what's going in next. No one reads instructions. Fancy looking. Cool. Yeah, they mentioned that there's like a self-adjusting pressure plate on this version. Oh, it's actually, is that aluminum? It's actually an aluminum flywheel. Just really heavy still. So this should hold, they mentioned for drifting application to use this style clutch from them instead of the lower or higher rated one. There's actually the one in the middle. It says SB55PT. I don't know what material that is. I was told I want something that if I slip it, it won't fuse together. Something that I've done quite a few times. Wow, this is gonna be a headache trying to figure out how to adjust all this because I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. It's a little bit of play. It's a little strange. Might be for a reason. All right, so that's in this box. This I already know. This is a box of. These are the adapters to make the OEM brakes work. Originally, this kit designed for like real race car stuff that you can't use OEM brakes. You have to use these fancy brakes. I did not want that, so they made me these adapters. So I guess they're probably available on the website right now. This bolts their kit and lets the OEM caliper bolt up. Super cool. And then this is the actual control arm. I guess you say knuckle replacement. Like those are the control arms. These are the actual knuckles. So freaking cool. I don't know how this works, but this bolts to the car. Wheel goes here, not wheel, wheel bearing. ABS sensor pickup point, which is cool, so ABS still works if you want it. I have to sort of disable that for what I'm doing. Shock goes through here. Once again, here's where we see if this works or not. From this box, it's supposed to fit in here, and it fits. Looks like it doesn't fit, because these bolts are tight already. But that's good, it's a hair larger. Perfect, it fits. You guys have no idea how worried I was, hoping this would fit. I have very limited days left to finish everything in this car. And if that didn't fit, I don't know what I was gonna do. And these are, once again, they're not normal F80 size. It fits different cars with different variations. So with what he sent me, it needed this size shocks. Shout out to BC Racing. They hooked me up big time on this suspension. Got out to me in a really reasonable time frame. So I'm beyond hyped to get that on the car. Let's go back to opening the rest of the stuff. Oh, that's literally like it. There are these little things. These are like part of the tie rod assembly, I guess. I guess it just makes it a little bit longer. Not really sure. I'll hit up Sean and see what those are for. But that's really it. Now, we gotta get this on the car. This fancy SLR purple stuff. One of these arms, we have to like just make it fit a little bit. It will, I guess, anyone buys it, you'll have like a little bit more of a well-working sorted kit. This is sort of like the first of what we're doing for this car. So Sean asked for a bunch of random measurements. One thing for my measure, I guess you say, is like hair off. So I'd like sand something down to make it fit perfectly. Not a huge deal on something like this. We got our coilovers in here, pretty much. We called him to go over how these adjustments work. He said that front adjustment is my caster. So I don't know how a lot of things work, but the further forward you have, the more caster you add, the quicker the car self-steers. Also, I think transitions slower and slower. And then the rear adjustment, this one, is for track width, so it sort of works combined. By you adjusting one, I think it could affect the other one a little bit, but we're gonna leave the front one to give us, I think, as much caster as possible. And then we're gonna leave the other one to add a hair of track width. We don't really know how much track width it will add because no one really has this on this car. And these are, while they're based on stock stuff, they're based, I think, sort of like on stock E92 M3 stuff. So we don't really know how much wider this will be or how much narrower. So we're gonna have to just put it on and then play with it. Probably just gonna put it on however it is. Maybe do some sort of alignment and then let Chelsea play with it when he gets the car to see how he wants to set up, because this is sort of what he does. So the rear end's pretty much done. Brace is in, suspension. I have a spare set of drive shop rear axles. I'm deciding on whether or not I'm gonna put that in the car. Thinking about it. We got the spec clutch. We're gonna start throwing that on. But right now, Islam's just gonna keep freaking banging at this suspension. So a lot of stuff has to come off to make this work, but I think it's gonna be pretty cool once it's all done. As we do this car more and more, I get more and more hype. So Dana went ahead, Dana filled in the engine mount. So there's two, one has holes and one does not have holes, or it comes apart I should say. The one that doesn't come apart I thought would be a lot harder to fill, because if you look through it you can see there's a gap from this to the wall about the same as the other one. I was super worried that we wouldn't be able to fill it good. I was thinking this might be thick. It's not super liquidy. So if we use the window weld that we were gonna do originally, it would not have worked as good. This works great. This is actually this stuff. I'm not saying this is the best stuff or worst stuff ever. I have absolutely no idea, but it's a hardness that I was cool with trying. The second mount that came apart really easily, I thought we'd be able to just goop it up and then slap it back together and just fill up top or bottom. If we use window weld, that'd be totally fine. That is not okay with this liquid stuff because it is just freaking oozing right out. I mean, you can't really see it too great right now, it's okay. It says like 20-minute set time or 30-minute set time. So as it drips, we'll just keep chopping off till he runs out of stuff. But there's a lot left, so we should not run out. Yeah, if I were to do this again, he was saying hot glue it, right? You think?
Yeah, probably hot glue it just so nothing oozes out and we're not losing that much material.
Yep. He taped up the bottom right. I feel like a lot of what's oozing out is from the cracks between the seam, not necessarily the bottom. I'm not saying that's better. If we were to hot glue it or at least seal up all the random passages, we would be able to fill it up and just like this one. Let it sit, walk away, do something else. So he's gonna hang out here and just babysit this one for a little bit. So, and then we'll come over to the clutch. For the clutch, I'm not too happy with how the flywheel is. Some clutch manufacturers come with a steel ring if you have aluminum flywheel. That way when you torque it, it presses down evenly and you don't have the force on a bunch of little holes, or actually like the hex will cut into it. These bolts have a little shoulder on them. So the hex part won't cut into it. It should be okay, similar to running a washer. I really wish it had some sort of washer on it. I don't want to put that because it's going to space away further. And I don't have any new nice hardware that'll work great in this. Not that this is new nice hardware. This just looks like random 10.9 part store, whatever hardware. It's not really that fancy. I don't know, I'll wait a whole ton of time. So we're going to Loctite these, put these in as tight as we can within the factory allowed amounts, and just hope for the best. Should be okay. It's what they send you. So I have some level of faith in it. But I do like other clutches that come with a metal ring or a washer or something. He's had a little bit of trouble trying to get the flywheel on. And I remember my buddy Castro Motorsports, we did a 1,000 horsepower M4. Got a spec clutch also. I'm pretty sure he had a bunch of issue with the flywheel, something similar. I can call him in a few minutes to take a look at it. Once we get it off, oh, it's off, let's see. It like is a little too tight in here. But it's on both sides? No, it's not really on both sides. You might not be perfectly straight. It might just not be perfectly straight. We'll see. Motor mount update. Oh, not that bad. The problem is it's just oozing out so much. It takes so much time to sit here and wait with it. It's been like 20 minutes and nothing's really changed. So we're probably like we said before, probably gonna clean it with some sort of brake clean or something. Silicone the bottom or crazy glue or not crazy, hot glue or something. And then go ahead and fill it right from the top like the yellow one, so we don't have to babysit it, but let's see. So we're back on the angle kit stuff. It looks super cool, but does it work? Not really exactly how we thought it would. SLR did not cut something for the measurement I told him, but it was on purpose. He was like, hey, you're gonna have to play with it and sort of see how it fits. You might have to offset one of them, so it's not a problem. We have a lathe, we milled it down on the lathe. It fits great now. Only thing is the wheel is not perfectly centered. You guys can't really see, but we've been testing a lot of different wheel stuff to see. With the adjustment that it has, it's not enough adjustment for what we need. So this kit's not really for F80. It's based on the E90 platform, but F80 also. So these arms being a hair longer, I'm pretty sure, should be totally fine because there's a lot of room to go out. It just seems the geometry is not identical. So because of that, we need to actually machine part of the kit down to make it fit perfectly, which is what we're doing right now. You can take a look. I'm not a suspension guru by any means. I know minimal amount. Based on talking to them and going over this is, I guess, the best solution currently. I think for people in the future, if you were to buy this kit, whatever I take off this, I'm gonna tell him, but based on the measurement that what we're machining, we're not removing any threads from anything, threaded deeper than the amount of space that we're using. So This will still have the full engagement, and this will allow the wheel to be completely centered on the wheel well and allow it to move forward approximately 0.75 of an inch or so, maybe a whole inch, which is way more than needed. Right now we're a 1/4 inch backwards, and it's not good. So this will give us, we can go backwards a little bit, we can go backwards, let's say an inch, and forwards an inch in the wheel well to adjust caster. Everything's triangulated, so the only option is by adjusting the other arm, but it'll push the wheel out a lot. And the angle kit already pushes the wheel out a little bit. We don't want to do that, because then we're gonna run out of wheel options really quickly. And I got a haircut. So on the SLR stuff, trying to figure out more and more how this works. We've machined a lot of things. We did not do this side yet. We've sort of modified this a little bit to move some things over right here. I've talked to Sean a lot, the owner of SLR. We've gone back and forth quite a bunch. I am buying different pieces than it comes with. This kit's really designed for E90 originally. It's modified for my car. I think it fits with what he has, but it all needs to be modified significantly. Whatever I end up with, I'm gonna tell him whatever the outcome is, and then he'll just send out probably everyone else's kit already set up to sort of bolt right in and work perfectly. I'm sort of a test dummy a little bit, even though the angle part and all that stuff should be perfect. It's more so the fitment things that we're working on. So we've got a lot done. We're getting there. Coilovers are fully in. We need like a little bit different of a tie rod on the inside to fix the angle a little bit. We have transmission is back in. I bought new OEM F80 transmission mounts. I decided against using them. In addition to my motor mounts, which are all finished up, dried, and look great, I decided to go with stiffer transmission mounts. I don't like all these poly stiff mounts, so I bought like an older BMW, like an E21 transmission mount, and we're gonna probably put like the enforcer cups on top, which limit movement even more. If you look at these, you'll see they're solid. The OEM ones are like a hourglass shape, and if you were to squeeze them side by side, you'd see the OEM ones are way softer. I'm like literally not a fan of stiff transmission mounts due to the fact that in my opinion moves more vibrations into the cabin than stiff engine mounts. So like I said, we did the OEM engine mounts with a poly in them. The trans mounts, I'm gonna go with these and throw enforcer cups on it, so it's still pretty soft, still an OEM bushing. Aftermarket poly would probably be even stiffer. So we're getting there. He's trans in, he's just literally butting up. We're gonna hop back in the car after and take a look where the shifter sits compared to the e-brake, because on the e-brake stuff, that's all done and mounted, but we started it without the transmission in, so the shifter was floppy, so we never really got a crazy outcome. You guys know how heat this is about to look? I got these wheels from a neighbor of mine actually. He has an E46, why about it? He's like, I have CTWs I want to get rid of. I don't know if they don't fit his car or whatever. He offered them to me for a really good price. I told him if I can fit them on something, I'll take them. So pretty much I got them, brought them here, we threw them in the car, and then it's sort of cool because these are 12s in the rear. I mean, the fitment wise means you need a hair more camber or a hair more low to really fit perfect, but for 18 it's pretty good. You'll see from the back, it's a little wonky. I don't think I'm gonna be low enough to really pull these off properly, but I mean, if I put a hair lower, maybe for the street be cool. Front fitment's pretty good though with these 10s. Stock wheel wise, that's no spacer, just the angle kit which sticks the wheel out a lot more. I turn the wheels and show you guys what it looks like, but we're not at that point yet because there's no tie rods. My tie rod just came. So just fitting up the e-brake. Not fitting up, it's here. It's just got no line, needs to be bled. Compared to the shifter, we sort of guesstimated we did pretty good because for reverse, it does touch when going in, but doesn't touch on it. I mean, I guess I don't really have to, pull that hard to go in, but it touches a hair. Shifter's also loose. Not a big deal. It's also the taller of the two shifters. I'm not sure if I'm gonna drive this one or a shorter shifter I have. See what I like more. Probably gonna rock with the taller ones and a little closer, but it's pretty good. I finally feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel of the steering angle kit drama. I don't know if you guys have ever bent a tie rod before. I had actually bent my tie rods to make this fit. Might sound stupid, it might be stupid, but I'm not an engineer. I just sometimes play one on the internet, I feel like. But the tie rod practically goes straight through this control arm. My friend Chelsea has a stick control arm kit that's like has a place for it to go through the middle. This does not, so my solution is bending it. According to everyone, it will act the same way, even if it looks strange, because both points it moves are the same. Only weird thing is that it could flop a little bit one way or the other, potentially change alignment, because it's no longer a perfectly straight thing. It has a bend to it. But this outer joint would limit movement. I think it'd be totally fine. We bent it, we had to cut it down. Adjusters that come with this angle kit, it's maxed out. We run out of threads, female threads on the adjuster. So my option was to cut down the adjuster or cut a few threads off my tie rod. I'm ordering a bunch of spare tie rods also to modify and have ready. So cutting down the tie rods for right now, the amount of threads a hair is the easiest solution. And then tomorrow I have more tie rods coming that will be the correct length already. And we'll just have to bend them to fit. I know it might sound wild pre-bending my tie rods, but it's legitimately the only option. You guys might see this as like one quick thing. This is like day 3 or 4 of trying to make this work. It's been a horrible thing. I've never really worked with angle kits. There's a lot of questionable stuff, and I don't really know what's allowed and what's not allowed, but we made a ton of progress. I do think there's solutions to this by maybe moving the pickup point slightly where the outer tie rod goes. But once again, that's just sort of speculating. This is definitely my current solution. Okay. We built a spacer into the end of the steering rack.
Yo.
The inner tie rod actually goes into the steering rack, unlike an E90. At E90, it actually ends relatively flush. So by us adding that spacer, it moved the tie rod outside. I now have to figure out a boot situation that's way wider. So I'm gonna have to go to a parts store and dig through boots and find something that'll fit and clear, because now we raised it higher. So reasoning behind us moving that up and actually tilting it forwards a little bit is because due to this pickup point here, the tie rod was smashing into the control arm to the point where if actually this was different and these two pieces were flopped, it would work way better and put the tie rod on the bottom. This was our only option though. I mean, it was this or put move the tie rod to the top, which supposedly affects bump steer negatively. I don't know though, I'm not a suspension guru by any means. I just have my friend Chelsea that tells me don't do this, and then Sean replies and tells me don't do this. I'm just trying to follow their instructions as good as possible while retrofitting this kit to fit the F80 platform. But we're done. It's done. You agree or not really? Done. Yes, he said yup. We're just, right now, the steering rack's been out of this car before, so we're just taking it out and realigning it so that our straight point on the steering wheel is centered on the rack. That way, once that's done, we can make sure our toe is close to 0, and then at full lock, we're gonna see if we have to modify anything or if everything clears perfectly. We might have to grind down a hair. I'm gonna show you both parts that are worn down. Right here, right here. I would turn the wheel and show you guys how crazy the lock is, but they're trying to get the steering rack back, the steering shaft back on when it's perfectly straight. It's being really hard for them to get like lined up perfectly. So I'm not gonna turn right now, but those touch a hair at full lock. I can also put steering rack limiters in the car, which will help with that, so I reduce angle a little bit. But so far on 10-inch wide front wheels, it gets ridiculous amounts of angle and nothing hits other than the control arm hitting the tie rod. Sean said I can take a decent amount off of that if needed, but I think like a few millimeters, it just touches when I'm about maxed out. So take 3 millimeters off this thing. I'm allowed to have an inch. It's about 2 inches thick, I think, or about 1.75 inches thick. He said I can get down to an inch, I'm safe. So I don't even need that much. Take off a millimeter, 2, 3 max, just to gain a hair clearance. And this is also full droop. Whenever the car's on the ground, I'll gain even more clearance. This is just to be extra safe. And then I'm just gonna walk around it, show you guys everything on it. What time is it? It's Sawzall time? We have made a ton of progress, real talk. No more Sawzall time, you did a Dremel instead. But we have hard motorsports, stud conversion. Check out how long these long boys are. We have really bad wheel spacers for that extra 5 millimeters or so. We're gonna need that if I rock these CCWs, just get out there. Interior wise, it's almost back together. So e-brake wise, that's the amount of travel I have. It's all fully bled. The trend's back in. With the shift knob on, I'm not sure if I'll show you guys. We still have ample clearance. In reverse, it just touches it going to reverse. We were told it would be almost on it. So we did pretty good on that. We have to bleed front brakes. We have to put steering rack limiters in the car to limit the amount of travel that we have. We have to put my differential lock in, which I talked about before. It locks the LSD always on versus unloading and unloading. It saved me from buying a $3,000 differential. Pretty cool. The amount of time we have into it's pretty huge though. I think we would be able to recreate it relatively easier because now we know what to do. What I can show you guys real quick is the crazy amounts of angle this car gets. Now the other way. I hope that looks like a lot to you. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. So I keep asking everyone, is this enough angle? And they're like, yes, Jordan, that's enough angle. Like, what do you want? I was like, I want to go sideways. But I really don't know what I want. I have no idea how this whole system works and how drifting works. So, yeah, I hope it's enough angle. If you guys thought I was gonna leave this stock looking, you're wildin'. This car, the big power 1200 horsepower car, looks stock. When I say stock, I got chrome grills, I got side markers, I got old man 10 interior. The drift car will have style. It's not gonna look stock. Next video, I'm gonna go over all the exterior mods that we're doing. Ton of stuff. Literally everything. Everything people told me to do that, and then some, we're doing the outside of this one. It's gotta look proper. Also, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek at the G80 that we're doing. My G80. Boom. Car just got port injection, our micro squirt kit, and next up after that, like I mentioned previously, we're gonna slam some turbos on there. So I'll probably do a separate video going over everything on that car, but don't think we forgot about that. It's happening. So mechanically, I think we're good. We put some miles in the car. We still need alignment and a lot of little things, but I can hop in this car, confidently drive it a lot and not have any major issues. Also mechanically, we threw a bunch of spares in the car. Spark plugs, little random things. I mean, these cars don't have injector failures that often, but we're gonna throw 1 or 2 spares in the car. I don't wanna be stuck anywhere. I wanna have lots of spares. We have tons of spare SLR tie rod stuff. We have every control arm in the rear of the car I have a spare of. BC Racing once again hooked me up big time. They gave me spare front and rear shock assemblies. In case I mangle it up that bad that I ruin a shock, I'll have a new one. I hope not to ruin this beautiful car. I'm willing to, if need be. I'm gonna try not to, but if it happens, it happens. So I hope you guys love watching this build. We're gonna do some more stuff on it and then get back to G80 content and then get back to this when I'm out driving the car on the West Coast doing Drift Week. So I hope you guys love watching this. If you do, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell so you guys can see everything going on and get updates when we post new videos of it. That's it, just stay tuned.